Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, North Carolina people's in Henderson, North Carolina. We're here to talk with Sam Watkins, who's the chairman of the Embassy Square Foundation, about a marvelous project that's been going on in this community for a number of months now. They found that they had a population problem here of 15% being unemployed. 1 out of 4 children were dropping out of school at the wrong time, and we had to deal with these issues. Some communities just wring their hands, but this group of citizens said, we'll roll up our sleeves and go to work. We'll find out what they've done in just a few seconds.
Sponsored in part by Wachovia, helping North Carolina people realize their financial goals since 1879. And through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.
Sam, it's good to be up here with you and be back in this great little city again. When you ran up on statistics like that, that puts a lot of stress on the community. How'd you go about bringing people together to go to work?
We had a vision that we could do something about a cultural center and that we could help our children, realizing that 50% of them come to school with too little vocabulary to really have to read and to have an opportunity. And we were seeking ways that we could make a difference. And the library was interested in building a new facility, and they had a community meeting here, and they had indicated they'd like to have a cultural center or a theater, performance hall. And so, in actuality, Charlie Rose came to town, and we talked to Charles about what we want to do, and he brought a lady named Patty Stonecipher with him. And she said she'd seen libraries done, and she'd seen the arts done. She hadn't seen them done together, and she thought it was a marvelous idea. Wrote us a check for $100,000 to seed the effort, and we began to form a 501c and a foundation, and to put a board of directors together and to start the journey.
You and I are sitting here in the new part of the new library. Yes. We're airing here the 1st of May, but in a couple of weeks, Senator will be down here to dedicate this facility. Now, library, arts center, performing center. This one came first. Just going to be a library that has all the computerization and all that for children can learn in many different ways?
In our current library, we have 9 internet access computers. We'll have 40 here. We'll have 20 laptops. It's entirely wireless. And we'll have everything we know how to put here to make learning better and more possible for our folks. And we'll do everything we can to tie with the community college and the public schools in the process.
You and I are sitting here in something I've never seen before in the library, a little amphitheater. Jennifer was telling me that the children are going to come here and there'll be a chair over there. The storyteller will take over. What a great idea for getting kids to come in the afternoon, hear stories, and get books read to them. You can do another imaginative things like that.
We have an opportunity here with the size of this facility to do something like this, and to have areas for teenagers as well as areas for the small kids. And we thought, and Little and Associates that did the plans thought the amphitheater was a great idea, and we think it'll be exciting to our kids, and they'll want to come here. And if we can get them in a place of learning, we hope we can make a difference.
As I have read all the materials you shared with me, I get the feeling that underpinning all of this is your desire to raise the whole educational level of the people of the Vance County area in here. Is this what is underpinning it? It
all ties together. You need better opportunities for our people. They have to be better prepared for those opportunities. You can't attract the jobs after you're prepared of folks without making these kind of investments. And we think it all fits hand in glove, and it is a vision to raise the level of opportunity and education in this community.
Well, now, this particular facility sits in an area, it looks like the city has taken over a couple of blocks of what used to be another part of the town, and with this building and the art gallery and the Performing Arts Center, you're going to be really the nucleus of the city. Is that what you intend?
We were trying to move the city back downtown, the public side, which is a new police station, and they hope to build an admin building, and then we had the private side on this side with the library, the gallery, and the performance hall. And we were raising the money for that, and the governing bodies, of course, would pay the other side, and we would revitalize the center of our downtown with that effort and bring people back downtown and be where the need is greatest. Many of our people who need help the most are within walking distance of this facility, and it's in walking distance of both of our junior high schools. So we think it's in the place where it can benefit the most people, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well, now the connecting way between here and what will be the performance hall is the art gallery.
Yes.
What kind of exhibits you plan there?
Well, we think that the exhibits in the museum in Raleigh that they would be delighted to set up here. From time to time, we would have all kinds of community functions there. We have artifacts in those areas that show history of Vance County. We've had a local gentleman to offer us some numerous number of art pieces out of his collection, and we think it'll be something that refurbishes the history of this community and makes us feel it's something we ought to carry on and make a difference in this community.
Well, if you can teach children about their history, that's school teaching too, you know. And if you don't know your past, you have to relive it, the old book says.
And I think if they can understand the sacrifices made and understand that history, they feel more desire, I think, to carry it on and to realize that things are really not quite as easy as it might seem sometimes. There was some sacrifice made along the way to get the opportunities that they have, and we hope they'll buy into wanting to be a part of providing that for those that follow them.
Now, you sit in the center here of a very well-developed, very well-run community college. They have their performance arena and auditoriums. You want to build one to seat 1,000 people here. You worry about duplication, or is there a need for both, and how are you going to integrate this?
Their civic center is very vastly needed in this community, evidenced by the fact that it's full most of the time. It's not a theater, and it's not a performance hall. Ours will be a performance hall. And we, as I mentioned earlier, were encouraged by Patty Stonecipher to start with as we began to look at what a performance hall would do for this community. Obviously, we had concerns about how you sustain it and what revenues it produce, and we formed a commission of some of our most capable people, the college being represented on that commission, and brought a lady named Catherine Page in, who was involved in the Children's Museum in Rutherfordton. And she had a great reputation, and they did numerous studies and identified as many as 185 possible uses of that facility. Live performances certainly being one of them, but that not being the only one. The museum in Rutherfordton is a family center. Her focus was that we could have a family center by having the gallery for those things and then the performance hall there. And we hope that we can do that we can make it a place where families come and that they can see things that they haven't had. We see no competition with the college. I don't think they see any. They were represented on that commission. It's an opportunity to have a much broader and to have more space available. Our space is limited because it's booked out most of the time. It's halfway between here and Oxford. This is in the center of our downtown. And I think ties in very nicely with the fact we have Carr Lake and Gaston Lake and tourism being one of our great opportunities in this community, that the performance hall will certainly draw people who are used to that type of thing to here, and if they come, maybe they want to be a part and want to help us achieve what we're trying to achieve.
Well, I heard Secretary Fain say just 2 days ago, Sam, that tourism is now $14 billion a year in this state, the largest percentage growth of income for all of our people, and you're very wise there. You know, when we talked a long time ago, we talked about what's happening to small towns in our state, and where some just give up and others try hard like you're doing and succeed. But do you all talk among yourselves? You say you went to Rutherfordton. I'm sure that's a very vital children's library. What about other things like swap ideas? We
have sought out every opportunity to benefit from what other people have done. We went up to the Kresge Foundation. We didn't win that. We'll go again. But we've done everything we could to learn what other folks have done that's successful and to learn the things that we ought to be careful about. And I think if we've availed ourselves to as much information as possible. I've never been involved in anything that there was more planning done than there has here. the library board, Tim Blackman, who chairs the state library board, Little and Associates, these ladies who have worked diligently seeking information. So we think we've brought as much information to the table to make the right decision as we could bring.
Now the inevitable question, how are you going to pay for all this, or how are you paying for it all?
Well, we formed a 501c, and we set out to raise what we thought was $15 million to do both sides. We've raised $9.5 million. $6 million of that money is local money, which in our times is outstanding. We, after raising $5 million of our own money, have attracted some state money and some federal money to the tune of about $3 million. And we were very fortunate to, with your help and other folks, to get Gold Leaf to believe in what we're doing, and we had a $250,000 grant from them. So we have pledges that we think will pay the library out. We have a 5-year loan, and we've made a nice payment on that loan, and we think that those pledges will see us through, and we will pay for the library, and then we very shortly will begin a campaign to try to raise $5 or $6 million to do the arts side,
Well, now,
formal side.
it can be said then, in all honesty, that this really is something the community's done for itself.
It's the strongest effort. I've been very active in this community. It's the strongest effort that I've ever seen in this community. And as I said to you earlier, came at a time when we had lost 3,000 to 4,000 jobs with textiles and tobacco. And had we had textiles and tobacco and rosy stores, this would have been a stroll in the park. In the shape this community is in at this time, it was a large undertaking. And when I walk through here, I'm excited about the fact that this community would step up and do something that's nice.
What are you planning for May 15th, and what's going to be the big community gathering? You can get 3,000 or 4,000 people here to celebrate what you've done.
Senator Berry will be here at 10 o'clock on that morning of the 15th. We expect to have buses full of school kids down here to have a celebration that day, to have bands and all kinds of things to show our people what opportunities are going to be here for them. We will not be open at that time, but it will be furnished out, and you'll be able to see exactly what we have to offer. And we're very excited about the senator coming, about his support in the past, and we look forward to that day, of a great day in the history of this community.
There are a lot of lessons to be learned by what you and the folks in this area have done, Sam. Bringing people together, was this hard to do when you started out with Embassy Square as an idea and a drawing, but very little else? How'd you go about it?
We had a strong contingent of folks that believed in it. Obviously, we were selling a dream to start with, and you group swells as it looks like you're going to be successful. But we set out to convince folks that we had to reverse the cycle of poverty here, and this was one of the ways that we thought we could do that. And we've had a good buy-in from our folks.
This has been young people, middle-aged, old people, the whole community united here?
All across the board.
Now, what have you done, especially with the youth of the area? Because you're really talking about their future. How have you got them to feel committed to what you're doing?
Well, we've tried to bring in all of the school people and have them involved, our students, as much as possible. And we will have had and will have ways for them to contribute small amounts so they will feel a part of it, and they've done that in the past, and we've brought them through here, and we've brought the teachers through here, and now we have the reality of it being here, and we think we will accelerate that effort dramatically when Senator Berry comes on the 15th.
The great future now is on the integration of education.
Yes.
Meaning public schools, community college, and then on, if people can and willing to try to go to the upper level colleges. You have that working relationship now with the school system and the colleges in terms of all that you're doing here?
Yes, we feel very good about the fact that there's a buy-in from the community college, from the schools. We have 6 computer stations that the modern word is kiosks in the center of the library there. We'll have learning disciplines on those kiosks that tie into the programs that are going on in the schools. Kids will be able to pull the homework up on that. They walk up there and punch buttons and learn some of what they have to learn on the screen and check out materials to further that education. And many of those kids we see as having very little parenting and coming to school with no opportunity unless we can find some way to bridge that gap and to to get them to buy into what an education can mean to them. You know, in too many cases, education is not cool today, but we got to find a way to make it cool. And we think that the technology and the computers and all the things we have, that these kids are just going to be the end place for them to be. And if we can do that, we're going to reverse that trend some in this community.
What motivated you to give up so much time here? You and some other long-known families in this county banded together here, but what drives you to such public service?
I've spent a lot of time in economic development efforts in this community and other things. As I told you earlier, we're the oldest family doing business here. This community has been good to my family. As I sought to bring jobs here and to have people qualified to hold those jobs, and you see a void there that says you can't achieve what you're trying to achieve unless you work both sides of the track. And loving the community and knowing that we have to have jobs and our folks have to have a better opportunity, then it was pretty easy to see we had to make an effort like this, and I was delighted to be asked to be involved, and have enjoyed working with numerous people to see what we can do, and we've done very well so far. If we can continue to the degree we've had success so far, we're going to be excited and happy in this community.
As the old saying goes, if you want to see what we've done, just look around you.
Just look around.
But I wanted, now, a lot of what you're seeking to do has some impetus coming from the state itself. Tourism is doing things like this, preservationists get into this, the educational thrust gets into this. Have you gotten yourselves involved with at that level to be sure they know what you're doing and you can draw from those resources?
We think so. You know, we made the trip to Chapel Hill, and you told us we were on second base, and a lot of folks just wringing their hands. We had the endorsement, and sought the endorsement of Helms and Edwards and the folks in Washington to see if we were doing the right thing. We brought Richard Moore in here, who's the state treasurer, and Richard stood in here and looked at this thing and said, Sam, this is going to be a great economic development tool. I'm very fairly close to Billy Ray Hall and have a lot of respect for Billy Ray, and Billy Ray was blown away when he came in here. He told me he was going to help us get that performance hall done. We had the library's annual meeting in this building 2 weeks ago. Dole's staff was here, Bear's staff was here, Butterfield's staff were here. Our representatives Crawford and Michael Ray and Senator Berger were here. Never in my time have we had that many folks as representatives to say, pat you on the back and say you're doing the right thing, keep at it, and we're excited about that, and we have sought support of all those folks.
How in the world do you ever get that many in the same place at the same time? You get an A for that, Sam.
Well, we've made a strong effort, and I think this is somewhat of a unique effort. We think that small towns have similar problems. We think that what we are doing is a model for what towns not to do. They don't have to build this bigger building, or they don't have to do exactly what we did, but there's only one answer to our problems, and that's education. And the schools have a tremendous job in trying to help those kids, and they need all the help they can get, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to partner with them and provide help that will allow them to be more successful in what they're doing.
Well, you just said why North Carolina people wanted to come up here and sit down with you, because there is a lesson here that can be shared with a lot of other communities all over our state. But now, you had to do all over again. Would you do the same thing in the same way? What have you learned out of this?
Well, I think we would do basically the same thing. Obviously, in fundraising, you might see some things you could have done better. But I think the thing that's most critical in an effort like this is to stay the course and to realize that sometimes it's going to look like it's going to be pretty easy, and again, it's not. But we bought in as a community and we were told it was too big and we couldn't do it. We just laughed it off and kept going, and we would like to have had a little more support from some folks early on who thought we couldn't do it, thought well not to do it, but I don't know that we'd do a lot different. When you have to perform and gain folks' confidence before some folks buy in, and maybe we could have worked a little harder now, but I think we've done everything we could do. It's a nice result of a strong effort, and we didn't miss many cues, I don't think.
Well, you know, you said with the loss of the Harriet Henderson cotton mill operation and Rose's stores, these things hurt. and jobs are lost, but you came in here wanting $9, $10, $15 million. You must have scared some people half to death.
Well, some of them laughed at us, you know.
Yeah.
Tim Blackman, who chairs the library board, raised money for the Y, and of course I was on the hospital board when we raised a couple of $1 million there. And Tim looked at me when I told him we could raise the money. He said, "I don't believe you can raise over $1 million." We laugh about it now. You know, there's a lot of money in Vance County. On the other hand, we're weak in the middle with Roses going and Harriet Henderson, and our middle class has been hit pretty hard. But we did frighten some folks, and a lot of them laughed at us. Most of them quit laughing now, and we think everybody's on board.
That's what I was going to ask you. Where did that spirit come from, though? There's something different here. There's something unique here. You folks really mean business. And you've done it by putting the bricks and mortar up. And you've gotten the staff together here, and you're ready to go to work. And it's going to be beneficial. Has this been the way Henderson has lived in the past? Your community spirit here has been this high?
Well, I think with Roses and Harriet Henderson and the folks that went before us, and you and I talked about a lot of them, we've had a community of folks who really cared. Obviously, what happens in small towns is that your educated folks have a tendency to leave, but other folks can't leave, and your leadership dwindles. So it's taken some effort to get enough muscle together to pull off something of this side. But this community has always been a caring community, and as I told you earlier, we just spent $50 million on the hospital out there, and of course we have a very viable YMCA, and we have a recreation facility down there that's second to nobody's. Has a state-of-the-art Olympic quality swimming pool in it, and that was an effort similar to this one. So over the last few years, with the direct thing and the new courthouse and the new police station and this and the hospital and the new country club, and now the hub that I talked to you about there, we think that we have stepped up to the plate and put the pieces of the puzzle together to have an opportunity to succeed.
Now, that reference you just made, you're doing something very unique here. How many counties have sat down together now and planned to do something in unity?
As I told you, Dr. Lugar from Chapel Hill worked with the Carter Council of Governments and had a vision of trying to put a mini-hub. They started out calling it, they've dropped the name mini, but it's patented after what Luther Hodges and the folks did there, and obviously won't be of that magnitude, but we think it's impractical for the state to try to support 100 economic development programs. It has to be done reasonably, and they sold us the concept, and we managed to get around the table with 4 counties, and we have Granville, Franklin, Vance, and Warren, who will have shared tax base. We'll develop a park together, and of course the jobs will be benefit to people in all areas, and we have some satellite sites that we hope growth will spill over into. The main site is around the community college. It's 1,000 acres, 500 in Granville County, 500 in Vance, around the best community college we know of, and that is a unique concept, and this fits hand in glove with it. We can't attract companies that would come into a thing like that without quality of life and without opportunities for their people, and this is a major step in that direction, we believe.
Here you sit then, potentially in one of the great new recreational developments in the state. With the lake, you sit in the main artery highway runs right through the center of everything you do. Are you looking at that tourism development then with that much intensity? Because when you know it's the second largest industry in the state and you've got so much here to offer, it's bound to be related to what you do here in the museum and the gallery and the performance center and the community college.
We have a tourism director who is doing a very good job. We have a car show here that every year that brings in numerous. We see all kinds of things like that, and I think you will see us move from here to some type of facility that will allow us to house some of those activities. And the most undeveloped asset we have, in my opinion, is Carr Lake, and that's not to say a lot hadn't gone on there. It's just such an enormous resource. And of course, Gaston Lake is not far down there, and there are lots of folks with second and third homes down there who will enjoy coming here and probably buy in and help us with this thing. But yeah, we are heavily focused on tourism. You know, conventional industries are very difficult to come by today. You've got to use the assets you have, and Carr Lake is a great asset.
Are you thinking ahead and putting some kind of regulation out there now to watch growth so it doesn't sprawl all over you?
Working on it at this time, and you know, it's there are a lot of folks who don't understand land use planning, but land use planning is very critical, and certainly in a county this size. If we don't do something about land use planning, then we won't have any land to get the kind of growth we want on. So yes, so we're working on that at this time.
The railroads maintain their access here. You're on the main line still, aren't you? North and south as well. So
Yeah,
all of that augurs into a unity of effort.
We hope that we're going to have a stop on the train when they put it through. We are working on that, and certainly it would be critical to this community. We have a number of things going for us. We have almost $700 million in retail sales at this time, and so we think we're a logical center for Southside Virginia and Warren County and maybe even Franklin County, and that the train would be a great help to us.
Well, it's been a joy to sit down here with you and learn about the vitality of what you're doing here and the lesson you're teaching all other communities in North Carolina, Sam. And to you and all the members of your foundation, warm congratulations. And friends, I know you've enjoyed listening to him this evening and seeing what a community, when it makes up its mind to do things, can really accomplish. So until next weekend then, good night.
Sponsored in part by Wachovia, helping North Carolina people realize their financial goals since 1879. And through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.